Remember when I told you about how the majority of First Nations groups that were actually affected by the Northern Gateway pipeline route were in favor of the project? Well, why wouldn't they be? They were going to have 10% ownership of the pipeline that would have allotted them financial independence from the government, job creation in their communities, and the ability to fund much needed infrastructure projects like schools and hospitals. I'm actually convinced that the negative mainstream media coverage on the topic, with more focus on the loud minority of paid activists, helped to shut the project down. Actually, more than 30 of the 42 bands affected really wanted the project that had already received regulatory approval to go through, but was shut down by Justin Trudeau, who cited the Great Bear Rainforest not being an appropriate place to build a pipeline, and the Douglas Channel being no place for oil tanker traffic. Where was the media to champion the stories of supportive First Nations? The final nail in the coffin came when the Federal Court of Appeal ruled that First Nations groups hadn't been properly consulted with. But the Indigenous groups in support of the project are now saying that they weren't consulted at all. In fact, representatives from 3 supportive bands say that they're angry with Justin Trudeau for rejecting the pipeline in a political decision that wasn't in the best interest of Canadians. Chief Dale Swampy then went on to say that Aboriginal communities are just trying to get themselves out of poverty, the welfare system, and that every time they try, that those attempts are destroyed. Sounds like that key promise that the Liberals made to First Nations to rebuild a relationship based on mutual respect and partnership just isn't really a priority once again. And once again, this is a prime example of how progressives use identity politics to get votes, but to the detriment of those communities that they pretend to want to help. Like I said, these pipeline projects could actually lift some of these communities right out of poverty for the long term, with job creation and economic benefits. Instead, these activists and progressives alike help to impoverish these communities that they pretend to champion. These communities actually deserve to be treated equally in this process, and they've obviously been tossed aside by the Liberal government because they just simply didn't fit the agenda or narrative this time. And in a turn of the tables, some of the bands affected by the Northern Gateway pipeline route and that were in favor of the project are now considering taking legal action against the federal government. I'll definitely continue to update you as that story unfolds. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our new Rebel Canada YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of our latest.